Hello, I'm Mantastic and Fantastic, and today I'm going to be talking about the Monster Hunter collab that is coming back to North America this Monday. So, as a warning, this event will cost you 10 magic stones, and there are an absurd amount of dragons featured in this event. So this video is going to be quite long, but for the most part, this is one of the strongest collabs or special rare machines to come to North America. And the reason being is because every single card has a weapon assist. And for the most part, many of these weapon assists are quite strong. Furthermore, many of the cards, especially in the higher rarities, at least have tremendous value. But at the same time, the bottom rarity or 5 stars has some of the most key weapon assists for pushing into endgame content because they feature the 60% resistance to blind, jammers, or poison attacks. So for the most part, I would most likely encourage you to roll in this event, especially if you are lacking these cards, because we don't know how long it's going to take for this to come back because it was last seen January of 2018. So it might be a long time until it returns. And if you start progressing through the game, you're going to want to have these weapon assist resists at least. So on a different note, I did actually hide a special Easter egg in this article somewhere, but unfortunately it's in the article itself, so you have to find it yourself by clicking on my link down below. So, as an overview, the Monster Hunter collab has cards, well, all the cards in the Monster Hunter collab can be limit broken and thus super awoken. Furthermore, they have absurdly high weighted stats. The 7-star cards push beyond 1500 weighted stats, which is ridiculous because a reincarnated Pantheon card has 1000. So big difference right there. They have some of the best weapon assists in the game. They have great value at the bottom rarity. Like there are 3 cards that I would like to roll at least 2 copies of, just the bottom rarity, and that's a good indication as well. There is a new leader skill mechanic, which I'll address when those cards actually come up. But the idea is basically blob/row teams have a way to add combo counts to their matching style. It also puts the dragons back in Puzzle and Dragons. There are no waifus, maybe that's a con to some people, but hey, we have dragons. And they also feature one of the prettier Orb Skins. Unfortunately, the drawbacks are it's going to cost 10 magic stones, which we kind of expected anyways. But another issue is the fact that they have such a large rolling pool. There are so many different cards in this event, and because of that, it's going to be much harder to snipe a specific card that you are hunting for. Now, one last thing that is probably just my own personal preference is that there are no voice awakenings, and Gung Ho really missed out on the chance on having the dragons actually just roar at you. That would have been kind of cool. It would probably be a little disturbing and unsettling at first, but then you realize it's better than the weird female moans you might hear. So, in terms of the ranking distribution, it's got a pretty healthy mix of a bit of everything, but it's not just the top tier rarity cards in the very top. There is 3 5 stars in the top A and S tiers. So again, I'm going to explain all these cards in detail. The tier list only shows them in a random order. It's not reflective of what is good or what is bad within each individual tier. So limit breaking, super ring. So again, all the cards here can be limit broken, which means they have this blue text. They can be fused to super snow globe, go past level past level 99 up to level 110, gains extra weighted stats, gains super awakenings, and all the cards here can be acquired via the monster exchange. Well, not all the cards. All the 7-star cards can be acquired via the monster exchange system. But the problem with that is it's going to cost you 5 7-star Godfist exclusives or rare collab cards. So it's not going to be a very costly procedure for the average individual, and it's not going to be something you can really do for the most part. So 7-star base cards. So first one is Amatsu. Amatsu is a returning giant, and he is actually a giant, or she, I don't know the dragons, but they are a giant because they have an absurdly high amount of base health. They have 9,000 base health at 99 and 11,300 health at level 110. You add some pluses in the mix, they're hitting 12,000 health. It's kind of ridiculous. Like, you just stick Amatsu on a team and suddenly you have an absurd amount of health. Amusingly, back in the day when Pad first came out, a lot of teams were floating around probably like 15 to 18,000 health. So one card now is the same as back in the day. So we can see how power creep has definitely progressed. But Amatsu is not just good for his meaty health stick. They provide you with triple 7 combo of super awakenings. They have follow-up attack. They have soft or recover bind awakenings. So he has damage, he has utility, he has the stats and the health. Furthermore, his active skill is still quite useful. They are able to unlock the board, they can generate water and generate hard orbs, and that's on a reasonably short cooldown. So you can inherit something over top of him reasonably well. He can be utilized for his base active skill. Again, just an incredibly strong all-around card. And if you are able to actually utilize Amatsu as a sub, it's hard to really justify not, because what else is going to really fulfill the roles of follow-up attack, health, and damage at the same time? Blue Cotton is great and all, but Amatsu is just significantly bigger. In terms of his weapon assist, they have 2 Team Health Awakenings, which is alright, but it has the potential to add significant amounts of health, but at least from my point of view, I like to utilize resists more often because those tend to be direct active skill savings. Now, if that being said, if these health awakenings are able to push you beyond a certain threshold to survive a large preemptive, then maybe it's justifiable. But on that same note, you should not be converting Amatsu to this weapon assist unless you have duplicates, because Amatsu is such a strong card in itself. And of course, the L unlock is definitely useful for removing locked orbs and locked skyfalls. Next is Diabolos, another returning favorite. And Diabolos is still, even without buffs, arguably the best 7x6 leader in the game because he has so much flexibility. You're not restricted to colors or typing. You just basically need to make 8 combos, and that is always doable on a 7x6 board. So yes, his multipliers are a little lower, but he still has damage reduction, which is important to survive the gravity plus hit combo. But his main appeal is just his flexibility. You can build any type of team with him. You can use any VDP option. You can basically have mono green, mono dark, whatever you want it to be. And his stats are quite meaty all around. Like, he's got reasonable health, quite high attack, and reasonable RCV, but his grand total is at 1500, so pretty solid card all around. He can gain tape, he could get double 7 combo. It's just a solid card to have all around, and there is a chance or possibility that he will receive a buff in the future, because it's either Air or Diabolos that's being buffed. We don't know which one or what they're going to do, but if Diabolos gets buffed, amazing. But the point of the matter is, he is one of the best 7x6 leaders still available. He has great pairings in Roach or Akuma. So if you own one of these cards, you technically can pair with Diabolos. And that's one nice benefit of Diabolos. You don't have to own him. You can just pair with a friend, and that just makes your life significantly easier. But of course, he's not without faults. His main drawback is that he has a long base cooldown that really doesn't do much at all. A 25% true gravity is not enough to utilize as a cheesing team purpose. You need to basically use at least a 30% gravity at the end, otherwise you're not going to have enough damage to execute the spawn. So you have to use 4 gravities if Diabolos is in the mix. There's no point there. And for traditional content, true gravities are not going to do much because they get voided out or absorbed anyways, so it's kind of awkward. Now, with that being said, a lot of people will just simply inherit a weapon assist on top of him to provide resists, like Raytheon, for instance, for the 60% poison, which will probably work out, but at the same time, you are kind of playing with one less active skill, which is definitely a drawback overall. In terms of his weapon assist, it is almost comically bad. Don't make it. Like, just don't. It's a TPA and a dark resist. Like, these are things that you don't want to have. Like, a TPA weapon assist, there's so many different options out there, and in all honesty, if I had duplicate Diaboloses, I'd probably just utilize them as trade fodder instead of a weapon assist, because the weapon assist is very questionable in my opinion. Nariko Ghonte is an older card again, and unfortunately they got basically the big middle finger or time extend finger from Gung Ho in terms of buffs, because they are still a 5 orb 1 enhanced leader. And that is really sad, because with 5 orb 1 enhanced leaders, you have to have enhanced orbs present. So if your orbs get changed to poison or jammers, which you could resist, you don't have the enhanced status anymore. If you use a board changer and none of your dark orbs are enhanced, you deal no damage. It's just a problematic scenario overall. It's a relatively dated leader skill. I don't know why he was not changed into a match 5. If he was a match 5 leader, he would be significantly stronger and a lot more pleasant card to utilize overall. But unfortunately, at this point, he's in a terribly awkward place as a leader. Now, his active skill is pretty powerful. It's kind of like Fallen Angel Lucifer, in the sense that you produce a column of dark, a column of hearts, but you also have 4 turns of dark skyfalls. So the extra orbs can definitely make a difference. You do have a free follow-up attack made. You have enough dark orbs to probably kill things at the same time. So it is still a reasonable active, but for a 7-star card from a 10-stone machine, I expect significantly more than a reasonable active. And his weapon assist is unfortunately not necessarily where we want it to be, because yes, it is a skill boost weapon assist, but just in Monster Hunter alone, there are 2 skill boost weapon assists, and you can buy a skill boost weapon assist through Amin via the Monster Exchange, via the Monster Point shop for 750,000. So again, he's not really fulfilling any niche uses. If he was the only skill boost in the game, then he'd be significantly more valuable because he's unique. But unfortunately, at this point in time, he just is really not cutting it, in my opinion. Now, Zinogre was released around the same time as Nariko Ghonte, but Zinogre is incredibly strong now. So they're good in so many different aspects. They have a powerful active skill, which is a Fujin style active skill. Basically, it prevents damage absorption with a 5-color rainbow board. Their leader skill is one of the strongest rainbow leaders in the game because they have a huge attack multiplier. And then their weapon assist at the same time is also very powerful because they provide 2 poison resist. But what I want to stress is that Zinogre's active is strong, and you probably want to actually utilize it for various content if you're not using Zinogre as a sub. So by having him as a weapon assist with that kind of Fujin style active skill is good, and the fact that it provides useful awakenings is amazing. If I had to inherit any kind of Fujin style active skill and I had every card in the game, Zinogre would be my card of choice because you actually have utility alongside of it. The time extend and skill bind resist can be okay, but it's the double poison that can combo with either King Bradley or Raytheon for 100% coverage, which is what makes it amazing. So, as a leader, they have up to 21 times attack as a single leader when you match 5 or, well, I don't know why it's 5 or more colors, there's only 5 colors. You match 5 colors, you trigger that 21 times damage, and you also would be having a high 43.75% damage reduction with just 1 leader. With 2 leaders, you jump up to 441 times attack and 68.36% damage reduction. Incredibly high multipliers all around, but the issue is you have to have 5 colors all the time. Now, at least one of his damage reduction components is achieved by 7 or more combos, which should always be doable. You should be able to always make 7 or more combos if you're playing this type of leader, especially given the fact that they give you 2 seconds or 4 seconds of movement time with dual leaders. You have enough movement time, so you tap in those 7 combos, you hit that damage reduction, you should be able to survive at least a stall until a nicer board comes up, and then when your good board comes up, you explode of damage. So rainbow leaders are a little problematic for the most part because you obviously need to have those colors present. If you don't have those colors present, it's going to be a little awkward. But another issue to take into consideration is void damage penetration. Forming a 3x3 box with rainbow activation is a little awkward because you are very restricted in terms of the types of active skills you can use to generate orbs. Like, you have to use basically a single Heartbreaker in order to generate the orbs you want because any other type of orb changer will prevent activation. So that is definitely a drawback for Zinogre. Now, as a leader, you have this Fujin style active skill, and you also have skill charge. So you are able to basically charge this up very fast, very efficiently, and Zinogre can even be used as a sub on various teams because he has the highest weighted stats of any Monster Hunter card, nearly 1700, which is kind of amazing. Like, he's got nice health, very high attack, and that goes nicely with his 7 or 10 combo Super Awakening, and lowish RCV. So all around, incredibly strong card as a leader or as a sub, but as a weapon assist at the same time. Because as I already mentioned, that 40% poison resist means you can combo with something else like Raytheon for 100%, and you're probably wanting to use this active skill anyway, so you're not inheriting a dead active through the weapon assist, which is often the case for many cards. This is one of the new dragons introduced in the Monster Hunter Collab, and he comes with so many different and exciting things. Again, kind of like Zinogre, a very powerful leader, and he also has an incredibly powerful weapon assist. So their active skill is unique as well. It creates 2 L's worth of Dark Orbs, so 10 orbs in total, and his leader skill makes you want to match L's, or forces you to match L's, because you only gain your bonus damage when matching exactly 5 connected darks in an L shape. You can't do a column, you can't do a line, or a cross, you have to do an L. So a little bit more restrictive in terms of what you can do, but his multipliers are incredibly high. You have 4 times health and 225 times attack and 43.75% damage reduction, which is the exact same as Dark Metatron. And we know Dark Metatron is incredibly strong. So his only hurdle is having 5 Dark Orbs mashed into that particular pattern. So another thing to keep in mind is that there's no combo count tied with his leader skill. So 1 L will do large amounts of damage because it's 225 times damage, but his own triple L awakenings will give him significantly higher personal damage. Now, the main drawback of this is that if you want to match an L, or if you want to match, when you match an L, you're going to be possibly losing a combo count. You might have only a 6 combo board instead of a 7 on a bad day. But if you want to incorporate void damage penetration and follow-up attack, your combos definitely go down. But with void damage penetration, it's a little awkward because he is a match 5 leader, but it's a specific 5. He's not like Madu, where you can just blob all your orbs together in VDP or 3x3 box. You actually have to have a 3x3 box of dark and an L worth of dark. So you need 14 dark orbs, and that's definitely going to cut down your combo count as well, because your activation is just going to be quite strained. Or sorry, your combo count is just going to be quite strained. And that's definitely going to be one of his more stopping points, so to say. But with that being said, he's going to have incredibly high void damage penetration potential, because you'll have both leaders doing that huge amount of penetration with their L's stacking on top of themselves. So they are actually going to be dealing very high amounts of damage with 225 times attack. Now, I feel like someone needs to be buzzed in and recording. So, it was Pancake. She must have forgot her keys. So, where was I? So, in terms of like that leadership skill potential, very same multipliers as Dark Metatron. So again, you want to basically be capitalizing upon this, because you can use any dark sub. Dark Metatron is restricted to using gods, so you do have a certain degree of sub flexibility, and you can customize to the dungeon at hand. Of course, combo count and orb hungriness is kind of his lower point, along with most of his subs not necessarily coming with L's. At this point in time, L Awakening is not a popular type of awakening to be seen. So yes, you probably load up on 777 combo cards, but you may not necessarily have a board that gives you 7 combos anyway, so you might be struggling for a bit of damage potentially, but I honestly don't think it's going to be the issue. It's more so just the fact that you don't have Dark Orbs present, and Dark Orbs being tied to your actual activation clause. So, in terms of all of this, great leader overall with a very beneficial active skill, but his weapon assist is also amazing. So his weapon assist provides you with an L unlock, which I've explained before, that gives you the ability to remove locked skyfalls and locked orbs, so very helpful. It's always great to have one L unlock on your team somewhere just to get rid of those orbs, and it obviously has synergy with his own leader skill, so his weapon assist is his best assist. And he also provides you with 40% poison resist and 40% jam resist. So he's providing you with a huge amount of resistances overall, and kind of like Zenogre, you can combo this with other 60% resistance cards. So if you do use Fatalis with Raytheon or with King Bradley weapons, you have that 100% coverage. You can utilize the jammer coverage with another 60% jam resist. So it opens up a lot of doors and possibilities, and it's kind of unfortunate that Gung Ho put so much power into a single card instead of kind of distributing throughout the other 7 stars, because the other new 7 stars are just lacking by comparison. So Akintor has the ability to be, like the 2 new 7-star cards have a brand new type of leader skill mechanic. In essence, you have to match a certain pattern of orbs, which involves matching 6 or more of a particular color, and then you add combo count into their leader skill. So let's say for Akintor, you match a row of dark or a row of fire. You will have that 1 combo there, but then with your 2 leaders, you actually add +1 combo twice. So then that row becomes 3 combos. So now you actually will tap into 7 combo cards. And that's basically what row teams needed to have to actually function well, because their biggest hurdle was they don't hit the combo counts needed to overcome combo shields. They also have the issue of if they want to match follow-up attack, they can't match a row. So in this case here, their damage is tied to 7 combos, not rows, and that's a big difference. So you can match a weird blob of fire or dark orbs. In fact, you could VDP it, which is great as well. You could also make the follow-up attack alongside of it, and the plus combo counts will just start ramping up, and they actually stack on themselves. So in theory, let's say you match 1 row of fire, 1 row of dark, that's 6 combos there. Lots of interesting options open up. Unfortunately for this card here, he's not as incredibly strong as what we would hope it to be, but at least Gung Ho is being conservative with introducing new mechanics. They're not just going to make them so much stronger than anything else out there. So I like the direction Gung Ho's taking with these types of leader skills. It's just not going to obviously mesh super well with what we currently have, because again, I feel like they're just rolling this level of power creep out at a reasonable pace. So in terms of his leadership potential, a reasonably high multiplier of 256 times. You do tap into 7 combo cards, but you only have 43.75% damage reduction, so he doesn't have any passive health, he doesn't have passive recovery, but the main issue is this damage reduction is tied to matching 6 fire or dark orbs, so if you are lacking those orbs, you don't have damage reduction and you become quite vulnerable, and it's just this inconsistency or the chance of inconsistency that makes him weaker. If he had at least a 2.25 times health multiplier alongside of it, he'd be much more reliable because he could at least tank those hits and kind of stall for those orbs to fall down. In terms of his weapon assist, he provides 60% blind resist as well as 1 team health, 1 team recovery. So this would be great, but the problem is there's a 5-star Monster Hunter card that offers you the same level of blind resistance. Yes, you do get team health and team recovery, but is it really a good justification for making this card a weapon assist instead of just getting that 5-star card? In my opinion, it's not. Of course, if you have tons of every card available, you'd utilize this one over the 5-star option because you get the extra health and recovery, but again, that's not exactly a feasible option for the average player. And lastly, for the 7-star cards, we come to this green dragon here. So this card here has the same type of leader skill in that you match a blob of light or wood orbs and you add combos. But in this case here, you add +2 combos. So a single row of wood or light, or a blob of wood or light, will result in 5 combos. 2, 2, 1 for the real match. So your combo count goes incredibly high. And that is exciting. Again, I like this mechanic where it's taking us. Unfortunately for this card here, their damage is tied to wood rows. So unless you're matching rows, you don't get the damage bonus. It has to be wood. Whereas at least with the other option, the fire dragon here, you can match basically either red or dark, and you still get the full damage multiplier with the 7 combos, adding significant amount of oomph to the damage output. So their leader skill gives you 2.25 times health and only 144 times attack. So significantly less attack. You are reliant on blobbing. So this is obviously compensated by the combo count. So you can use 7 combo cards like Zella. So it definitely can do interesting stuff. But the thing is, you have to remember that these multipliers are still low. You are going to be facing activation inconsistency. And you only have 2.25 times health and no damage reduction. So I just feel like this card is kind of almost like a stepping stone. Maybe the next time Monster Hunter comes around, they will get a buff that makes them significantly stronger. But at this point in time, I feel like they're just a bit too challenging to utilize overall. And in terms of their weapon assist, like Nariko Ghonte, they are a skill boost option, but I wouldn't really want to convert this card because they're at least a cool leader skill. It does something different, but again, skill boost can be acquired through many things like purchasing Almond for 750,000 monster points. And now we come to the 6-star base cards. So Kirin is one of the older cards, and their main appeal for certain types of players is speed farming because you can trigger reasonably high damage with no skyfalls. But again, this is not something for the average player. Like with the no skyfalls, you do go a little bit faster, but the amount of time saved may not necessarily be that important for most players. Certain people who like to min-max their playthroughs definitely can find merit here, but at least in my opinion, it's not that necessary. The multipliers aren't that incredible, so in my opinion, Kirin, I feel, is just a bit of a middling card. In terms of their weapon assist, they provide you with 1 blind and 1 poison resist, but Trojan Horse exists, and it's farmable or free in the sense that you only use rainbow event medals, and that provides you with a jammer, poison, and... No, sorry. A Trojan Horse provides you with jammer, blind, and poison, so all 3 resists at 20% with a time extend. So I would be more like Trojan Horse probably has a bit more value because you can cover more bases with a single inherit, and the light rows probably go to waste in most teams. Rathalos becomes a 777 combo card with Super Awakenings, but the problem is all he offers is damage. Yes, you have nice stats, but again, you only offer damage. You have no utility. There's no follow-up attack. He is vulnerable to binds. Their active skill just generates more fire orbs. They have 1 skill boost. So as a whole, like, they're not providing that much benefit. It's just going to be a damage stick. But at this point in time, we have so many other damage sticks available, and we're kind of basically looking for cards that provide us with extra levels of utility or value. And Rathalos, unfortunately, is not that type of card. Now, in terms of their weapon assist, they provide you with 4 enhanced Fire Orb Awakenings. And this allows you to have a very large amount of additional damage for mono fire teams. But again, I honestly feel like pushing for higher damage is not as important as surviving mechanics. At this point in time, we have leaders that do more than enough damage to clear endgame content. So the damage output is not the issue. It's surviving the problematic and terrible mechanics. And that is often done through like intelligent active skill usage, powerful leader skills, as well as weapon assists that provide you with counters to those mechanics. Next is Glavinus, and Glavinus's main appeal is being converted into their weapon assist because they provide you with tape resist, which is quite rare, and especially rare when you only utilize it in you can utilize weapon assist in co-op and solo mode, because most tape resists are not found naturally. They're found via super awakenings, which are disabled in co-op. So basically being able to inherit a weapon assist with tape is important. So that alone is useful, but they also give you 2 enhanced killer awakenings. And enhanced killer awakenings are a pretty niche encounter for the most part, but having 9 times personal damage against those spawns can help trivialize those contents. So for the most part, Glavinus is just going to be exclusively a weapon assist. It's a niche weapon assist, but it's great at what it does. So I would definitely like to have at least one of these cards in my box to have the option of utilizing the double enhanced material killer and the tape resist. Next is the blue dragon, whose name I won't try and pronounce, and they can basically be thought of as one of the stronger healing sticks in the game. And the reason for this is because they have an active skill that provides 3 times RCV for 6 turns, as well as giving hard orbs a more likely chance to appear. Plus, it's on an 8-turn cooldown, so you can almost loop it on itself because this lasts for 6 turns. Furthermore, they have 1250 RCV at max level, which is an absurd amount of healing. They have team RCV. They can utilize their weapon assist for the enhanced heal orb. They have just so many ways of bolstering your healing output. So with this card here, we do face stiff competition from things like Mel or the Kuro Yuri system, but I just kind of want to explain how this card can be a viable option. So with Kuro Yuri system, you have to basically dedicate 2 active skills to heal, which can be a little problematic because you have less utility overall. Mel forces you to match exactly 4 hard orbs, but they come with kind of a weakish active skill anyways, so you're most likely inheriting something over top to utilize. Whereas this blue dragon here, what you can do is you need to really use their base active skill to keep that healing chain going. So it's kind of like the Kuro Yuri system. It's not as automatic or mindless. You still have to match things, but it's going to basically solve all healing issues right there. And that basically leaves your weapon assist slot open. You can basically inherit a weapon assist of your choice to gain whatever counters you need for the dungeon, and you'll be okay. You're never planning to use the weapon assist because you're using the base active all the time to loop the healing. So for Mel, you want to inherit a weapon assist, so you want to inherit an active skill that's actually useful. So again, Mel is basically dedicating themselves to utilizing that active, matching those 4 hard orbs. This individual here is basically saying, I'm going to use my active skill all the time and inherit a weapon assist for resistances. So this definitely has interesting applications. It does give you more options, and the typing of this card here does give you different possibilities because Mel has different typings, may not necessarily be utilized on every single team as efficiently. Furthermore, this card here has a co-op boost awakening, which gives them even more stats in co-op mode, which is obviously amazing. In terms of their weapon assist, it basically just makes any card a stronger healing stick. Now, for the most part, you should have enough solutions for healing, but some examples what I want to show you of how to kind of push yourself to the next level for healing can be for when you want to utilize a card's base active skill and don't care for their inherit, or you don't need certain resists as well for weapon assist. So for instance, Air comes with 3 enhanced heal orb awakenings and very high base RCV. So inheriting this weapon assist on top of them gives you even more RCV and extra enhanced heal orb, and basically just makes her pump out significantly more healing. With that being said, you may need to utilize her base active skill all the time because it can be a very strong option for bind and awoken bind clearing. So if you are planning to use Air's base active skill and you don't need other types of resists for weapon assist, stick on this one here and you transform her into a massive healing stick. Again, just gives you a bit of options overall. Val Falk is kind of an awkward card because their active skill basically just gives you a light Kali style board, so all 5 colors with no hearts, a little bit of fixed damage we don't care for, and their leader skills kind of like to flex on various people to say that like I can deal big amounts of damage with 4 seconds of fixed movement time. Yeah, that's kind of it. So 4 seconds of fixed movement time is kind of awkward because there's no way to improve it. You can't do it via awakenings, you can't do it via the solo mode badge, but you have an explosive amount of damage if you can match 5 colors or more. So this fixed movement time is either for flexing on people to show how skillful you are, but it can be utilized in ranking dungeons where you don't want to actually match for a long period of time, or possibly in no awakening dungeons when those time extenders are disabled anyways, so you might as well tap into something with a high amount of damage. With that being said, there's a 5-star card in this event that is a more well-rounded flexing leader because it only requires combos, not all 5 colors. And of course their damage output's lower, but it has the more consistent activations overall. So in my opinion, this card here it's cool, but I don't really see myself using it that often, but it might have some applications for some players. Their weapon assist provides you with a single TPA and blind resist. There are so many different TPA weapon assists out there at this point in time that it's not that unique or special, and the single blind resist is not enough to save you from problematic mechanics. If it had a couple more blind, one more blind, or at least other things, it could be possibly more valuable overall. The next 6-star card is this blue dragon here. I can't pronounce their name. They provide you with 5 turns of regular bind clearing, and regular bind clearing is not used very often at this point in time because, well, if you think about it, most things are bind immune. We need awoken bind clearing, so their active skill is kind of awkward there. But they provide you a full board replace. So board replacing basically means that all orbs on the board are removed and then a brand new set falls down into place. These orbs skyfall down, so they can match and they can trigger combos, they can trigger leader skills, and they can provide you with an extra turn of charging up for other active skills. Now, with that being said, this was an interesting way to deal with sticky or super blinds in the past, or locked orbs when we didn't have other ways to deal with it. Unfortunately, we now have ways to unlock boards more easily. We have various weapon assists. We have blind resist weapon assists, or just blind resist in general, so we can resist those super blinds. So utilizing an active skill to counter a problem is much less productive than utilizing a awakening to counter a problem, because awakenings basically mean they're passive. You don't have to dedicate that active skill slot. So they're just kind of a bit of an awkward place right there, but possibly niche usage there. In terms of their weapon assist, they provide you with 3 rows, which, well, we don't really use row teams that much. And they have a single jammer and a single poison. So again, it's kind of coming back to that whole Trojan horse conundrum. Why use this weapon assist when Trojan horse exists, who gives you at least an extra 20% blind resist alongside a time extend, because the rows are probably going to go to waste. Next is Brachydios, and Brachydios has become significantly stronger with his ability to gain Limit Break and Super Awakening. So his active skill deals 300 times attack damage to a single enemy, so very high button damage, and then change top and bottom row to jammers. So it kind of helps offset his cooldown by a bit, but the thing is, Brachydios has a massive attack stat, so you don't necessarily need to inherit him on other things. You can just use Brachydios as himself, and you have a huge amount of button damage potential. And this is great because it's not reliant on co-op mode for the co-op boost awakenings, and you need significantly less skill boost to charge him up because he naturally comes with 2. So for button farming, this is obviously a dream come true because you have more flexibility in terms of the type of team compositions you can bring. And in co-op mode, you can even push his damage even higher because you can inherit a co-op boost awakening on top of Brachydios and just use him for his button with the even more augmented attack stat. Now, having a great button base and a button card is nice, but Brachydios kind of takes it a step further. He does provide you with 2 skill boosts, which helps, but he gives double Devil Killer and possibly 2 7 combos in for Super Awakenings or skill boost, depending on what you need. But he does have damage output, and in fact, he can utilize Devil Killer late in Awakening, so he does have huge amounts of Devil Killing potential. Yes, he does have competition through Chazelle and Mito, but those cards are wood, they have much less attack. Brachydios possibly offers you other things that you may want to have, so again, opening up new doors. Now, those double row of jammers may seem like a drawback, but in my opinion, they're actually a bonus because you can utilize them in several different ways. Most notably is for basically giving your, it lowers the cooldown, but most notably is you utilize a full mono board changer. So let's say you use Zeus Dios and then you use Brachydios. You will have an 18-12 split of orbs, 18 wood, 12 jammers. And from there, you can rearrange that into a 7 combo VDP board. So for teams like Amon, you could button through you basically encounter spawn Zeus Dios, button with Brachydios, kill the floor, and then solve this 7 combo board. Everything dies. More options, more flexibility. Very nice card to have all around. I basically want to have one for myself because it can definitely make life easier. Certain ranking dungeons may want to use them in the future because of that huge devil killing potential and button potential without the need to compromise for so many skill boosts. Just a nice card to have all around. In terms of their weapon assist, I would never convert them to a weapon assist unless I had multiple Brachydioses because they're just such a good button on their own. Like, sure, those enhanced light orbs do add damage to mono light teams, and the attack while above 80% can be nice too, but Brachydios just comes with so much value in itself, I would not sacrifice him for this purpose. The next 6-star card is Gor Magdala, and their active skill is quite powerful. They're able to remove all bind and awoken skill binds. So basically you're an Odin Dragon, but you can inherit them around, which is a big deal because we can't use Odin Dragon all the time, and not all players have Joyra or the other inheritable options out there. So another inheritable full bind and awoken bind clear, great. They also remove hazards, so it's a nice collateral benefit. Their leader skill provides you with basically a rainbow style activation. Basically you need 4 or more colors, you have bonus orb movement time, and you have damage reduction when you match those colors. So his multipliers are reasonable, his active skill is nice, so it's a reasonable card all around as a leader, but nothing special. Zinogre is by far a better rainbow leader just because they have so much more damage output, and they have access to better damage reduction at the same time. In terms of their weapon assist, they do have the Healer Killer Awakening, and there's only 2 cards in the game that provide Healer Killer from weapon assist. So if you are lacking the, what's it called? Shotel, you have another option for a Healer Killer. It's still a relatively niche killer, but again, it can make a difference. But if that being said, Gor Magdala actually has a useful active skill, which you may want to actually utilize anyways on various teams. So converting to that weapon assist may just prove advantageous because you're basically just adding extra damage to a card that you would never have had otherwise. So useful card all around. Next is the final 6-star card in this event, and this is the one that has the very pretty cat Orb Skins. And this is apparently where lots of people are losing their minds. They must have this now. And this can be purchased via an IAP bundle, so you may not actually have to roll to find your cat Orb Skin. Now, in terms of their actual usability, their active skill provides you 5 turns of +1 combo count. Kind of a weird thing, but again, unique overall. And their leader skill will be mostly utilized as a way to counter resolve spawns. So they provide 2 times health and 2 times, by themselves, they have 2 times health and 10 times attack, as well as 50 times attack follow-up damage. So the idea is that you basically match all your orbs, you kill the resolve spawn, they're left with 1 health, you get this 50 times attack follow-up ping afterwards, and the floor is killed. You don't have to make the column of hard orbs, you don't have to modify your team composition, you just combo, and things die. Now, the main problem of this is that it requires you to actually combo to trigger his leader skill, unlike other options which are basically just, you can actually match 1, maybe 2 combos and things die. So you have to combo a bit, but at that same time, you actually have respectable multipliers all around. In fact, you could possibly even use him paired with something like Superman, who's an incredibly strong leader, and basically blast through high-end content because you have the high multipliers, you are matching TPAs anyways with Superman, and you basically can ignore those resolve spawns. So it does open up certain doors and possibilities. I'm still not 100% sure how this really plays out in actuality. It might be stronger than I'm giving it credit for. It might be a better card. So again, if you do roll this card and do end up utilizing them, let me know how it actually goes and if it actually proved helpful for higher end content. But outside of that leadership potential, their weapon assist provides you with tape resist as well as 3 auto heals. So again, you're kind of like Glavinus in the sense that you have that useful tape resist, but I prefer Glavinus overall because 3 auto heals are not that great, but Glavinus's double enhanced material killers has situational value. And now we come to the 5-star cards. We're on the home stretch, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very long video. This article took me like 3 days of like 5-6 hours each day to write, so there's a lot to go through. So the first card is Raytheon, and Raytheon is basically one of the poster childs or poster dragons for some of the best weapon assist cards in the game, especially for low rarity. So they're a 5-star card, so they should be relatively common to get, and they provide you with 60% poison resist. The only other 60% poison resist is King Bradley from, I think it's Full Metal Alchemist, I believe. And again, that was a high rarity card from that event. So Raytheon should be more common by comparison, and provides you with poison resist at the same time. So an incredibly strong card. So if you have Raytheon as a weapon assist and you utilize Zinogre as weapon assist, you have 100% poison coverage. And that is amazingly strong because generally speaking, poison orbs are the most lethal type of orb to be generated, especially mortal poison orbs. And being able to completely avoid and negate that mechanic means you have a significantly easier time beating that spawn and the dungeon at the same time. Because most of the spawns, their main mechanic is making those poison orbs and making you just drown in poison. But if you prevent those all the time from happening, you can almost stall in these problematic spawns and don't have to worry about them. So it makes your life that much easier. So by having 100% poison resist has become somewhat mandatory for high-end content because it allows you to basically survive when you would have had a much tougher time. Furthermore, the resistance is passive. You're not dedicating active skills, so you can just keep repeatedly stalling on that floor and always dodging those poison orbs. Now, in terms of the Raytheon's active skill, they provide you with a reasonably strong poison attack as well as 2-turn delay. So it's not the greatest style active skill in the world, but it does have a little bit of niche applications, especially against the Norns in Arena 4. So the Norns have resolve and no status shield. So if you poison them, and you can also delay them, you get a bit more turns to charge up active skills or faffle around. But if you one-shot them before their status shield comes up, they will die from the poison before they execute their 1% moveset. So interesting application there. Basically, you want to make Raytheon's weapon assist. There is no real purpose of keeping him other form. Like his weapon assist just, or her weapon assist, I think it's a her, is just so strong. Tigrex is a color cross no skyfall leader, so it's kind of like Roshana in the sense that you're color crossing with no skyfalls, but it's just kind of an awkward card all around. You have issues with combo count, you have activation inconsistencies, they make jam orbs from their base active skill. It's just kind of a weird thing all around, and their weapon assist, in my opinion, is quite underwhelming because, well, basically plus 300 attack is cool, but why not just do an on-color stat transfer and actually have various other awakenings take effect. So Tigrex is, in my opinion, not that great of a 5-star card. This purple dragon here, whose name I cannot pronounce, is one of the other key 5-star cards to roll in this event because they provide you with 60% blind resist. Now, the drawback of this card here is that their base active skill charges up very quickly when max skilled, so don't max skill it, and they produce a column of dark orbs and 1 turn of haste. And not all teams can actually utilize this column of dark orbs, so it is a bit of a problematic active to juggle around, and for the most part, it still should be manageable with careful active skill management. And the thing is, with blind resist, you prevent those sticky or super blinds, which are quite lethal, especially when you play through content like Arena 5, where they're quite common. By being able to prevent those, takes away a lot of the power from a lot of these dangerous spawns. Now, in most cases, you should make this weapon assist in almost every single time, but as I alluded to before with Valfalk, they are another 4-second movement time leader, and they do have a 225 times attack multiplier when hitting 6 or more combos. So you can use this to like flex on other people. You can utilize this as a ranking dungeon leader if you're confident in your matching skills because it forces you to move quickly and it stops you preemptively instead of you just faffling around all the time because every second is 500 points in a ranking dungeon. But again, for the most part, you want to make the weapon assist for 60% blind coverage. Gammoth is the saddest card in this whole event. I don't know why they're here. They're just terrible. Gung-Ho forgot to give them any love. In fact, they're the only non-dragon, which is weird to me because I thought everything was a dragon, at least in Monster Hunter. But regardless of all that, they have a terrible weapon assist. It just stat transfer. Okay. And their active skill generates 3 water, wood, and dark orbs, and 1 turn delay. Okay. Even when they were released initially, it was pretty bad, and it's only gotten worse over time. We'll just pretend you don't exist. Astalos has an interesting weapon assist, which is why they're primarily going to be used. They have an enhanced killer, an Evo material killer, and an awoken material killer. So they have one of each of these weird, strange killers. And generally speaking, you're not going to be able to stack them up and line them up on a single spawn, but it gives you a nice range of coverage. And this can definitely have value in Training Arena, because in Training Arena, things have huge amounts of health or defense, and you do encounter these types of spawns, so being able to have 3 times damage for a hard-hitting card is quite significant. It does open up some flexibility in terms of team compositions, but a niche weapon overall, but useful to have. Barioth has a light water and heal orb board changer with 2 turn delay, but the problem is it's on a 14 turn cooldown. If they did not have the delay, they would be a better card because, well, when you think about it, it's a useful active skill for mono light and mono water teams. Things like Yusuke can definitely utilize them because you can do damage, you can make the follow-up attack, or you can heal. But the problem is, with that 2-turn delay, you add 5 turns to the cooldown, and it just makes it hard to really justify when you combine it with the fact that their weapon assist only really transfers stats. So they do have 2 soft recover bind awakenings, which is nice for clearing bound units. But the thing is, most cards nowadays are already bind immune. So what is the real point in clearing binds when everyone is bind immune? None there. The delay part really just goes to waste because this is a kill board. You're planning to kill things when you use this board changer. So what is the point in delaying them? It just adds cooldown unnecessarily. So not a great card in my opinion. And then lastly, we come to Paolumu. So this is the final card of the Monster Hunter collab, and they are very powerful as well because they actually have a useful board changer. It's again kind of like Bury Off in the sense that you make Water, Dark, and Heal Orbs, but you also have 2 turns of bonus orb movement time, so you can override time debuffs. But you have a Tri-Elemental board changer on a 10-turn cooldown, which is reasonable, but their weapon assist is actually useful. You do have triple jammer resist, so this completes the trilogy, so to speak, of 60% coverage against various mechanics. So having one of these is quite valuable because you can trivialize jammers. You can also stop bomb orbs from being created, so very valuable for that part as well. But in addition to that, if you have multiple copies, you can utilize them for their Healer Killer Awakenings. So with 2 Healer Killer Awakenings, they have 9 times personal damage, and at this point in time, there's only one other card of 2 Healer Killers. Pretty niche overall, but maybe we'll find a usage for it, but in all honesty, I would just make them into this Jammer weapon assist. And the nice thing is, their board changer is often useful for many teams, so even having them charge up is not necessarily a bad thing. So, in conclusion, the Monster Hunter event is a very large collaboration because there are just so many cards available and there's so many things to actually roll for. With that being said, many of these cards have high value, especially at the bottom rarity. I would like to get at least 2 of the 5-star cards that provide 60% resistance because it just gives me more flexibility for inheritance purposes, and they're just so useful to have all around when pushing into endgame content. So with that being said, I do encourage most players to roll in this event, especially if you haven't done so in the past. Now, with that being said, let me know what you think about this event in the comments below. Do you plan on actually rolling heavily, as well as what you plan to hope to acquire? So hopefully all have a Mantastic day. I wish you all the best luck in your own pad adventures, and happy puzzling Easter. Find the Easter egg in the article.